Gift giving can be, well, weird. Sometimes you get gifts that you absolutely love, and sometimes you get gifts that you're just wondering exactly what the thought was behind that particular gift. Either way, you at least need to fake excitement, and beyond the faking, you need to show genuine gratitude that someone would think of you enough to give you a gift. Yes, gift giving is, well, complicated. Speaking of gifts that we may or may not want to receive, this season, whenever the days are getting shorter, which means that the nights are getting longer, we can be reminded of the fact that this world can dish out some pretty rotten gifts. We don't always get exactly what we want in life. Things don't always go the exact way that we want them to go in this world. But God, on the other hand, is there offering us a different sort of gifts. God offers us hope and peace. God offers us joy and love. God offers us light, where this world seeks to give us despair, anxiety, sorrow, fear, and even darkness. And so we are focusing throughout this season leading up to Christmas on how God wants to give us those good gifts, how we can receive and how we can embrace them. And in this season, the season of Advent leading up to Christmas, sometimes people are more open to hearing the story of Jesus. Sometimes people are searching for those gifts that they know are out there. And so, if you hear of someone who is experiencing despair, let them know where you find hope. If you hear of someone experiencing anxiety, let them know where you found peace. If you hear of someone experiencing sorrow, let them know where you go to find joy. If you hear of someone who is experiencing fear, show them where there's love. And if you know of someone who's going through just a very dark season right now, show them that there is light and where they can find it for themselves. But for today, we are focusing on how we can exchange despair for hope. Despair, literally, hopelessness. As we seek to exchange despair for hope, I've got some news for you. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I didn't say it was good news. I never claimed that this was good news, but the reality is that it's going to get worse before it gets better. You heard it in the reading earlier that Katie brought to us. And by the way, this is the prescribed reading for the first Sunday of Advent. Whenever we are still in the spirit of American Thanksgiving, whenever we are trying to seek the joy of the holiday season, decorating for Christmas, this is what we get. Doom and gloom, signs and wonders in the sky, roaring waves crashing all around us, fear and foreboding causing people to faint. Yes, this is the gift that we receive this morning, but it's the reality of our world. It's so easy to fall into despair because we see so many things around us that we know aren't exactly as they should be. And we see a wide gap between the way that things are and the way that they should be. And in those moments, it's so easy for us to fall into despair. It's almost too predictable for us to fall into despair. But I do have some good news for you. This isn't surprising to God. Not one bit. Jesus told us that these would only be the beginnings of pain, but pain that would lead us to something completely new and beautiful, something that is out there on the horizon that will take us from the world as it is to the world as it should be. But the truth is that if we want the end for which we hope, we not only need something to hope for, but we also need something to hope through. Sometimes people who follow Jesus think that life is always going to be easy. But if anyone ever told you that following Jesus would suddenly make life easy, I'm convinced that they never met the guy, because that guy died on a cross. Even before that painful death, whenever he was born, there wasn't any room for him, so they had to lay him in an animal's feeding trough. Even whenever he grew up, there was still no room for him. He experienced homelessness. Did you know that? He said, foxes have their dens and birds have their nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. He was rejected by those that he came to help, and he was really rejected by those that were the closest to him. He experienced the most rejection from there. It would have been so easy to fall into despair, and again, one more time, the cross, but he didn't let that despair hold him down. For Jesus, despair wasn't eternal. There was only one thing that was eternal, and that thing is hope. Friends, the same is true of us. We need to remember the words of Martin Luther King Jr., who said, "We must accept finite disappointment, but never, ever lose sight of infinite hope." Yes, despair lasts for a moment. Yes, you might be going through some stuff right now. Yes, you might look out at the world and not like it one bit at all. But just know that those feelings are temporary, that the world as it is will only last for so long. The only thing that is infinite, the only thing that is eternal is hope. Last week, I told you the story about the late great preacher Tony Campolo, how he liked to throw parties for people that, well, no one else would throw parties for. But probably his most famous quote is a good reminder of how disappointment and despair are only temporary, but hope is what lasts. He'd like to say, it's Friday, but Sunday's coming. It's an acknowledgement that we are going through some stuff right now, but Sunday is on the horizon. It can feel right now as if darkness has already won the battle, but I promise you that there is light out there, light that is springing forth like the bright morning sun. It can feel like evil has already won, that it's already overcome, but love is out there beckoning us, calling us in, reminding us that it is on the horizon, waiting for us to both take it, but also to give it. And yet, the reality is that we do fall into despair. The reality is that sometimes we even contribute to the despair of others. And so, because we have all fallen short of the glory of God and all fallen short of our call to bring hope and not despair, to push it back and to give this world something to hope for, to hope in, let's join together in confessing our sin, both before God and each other.